Good morning. It's Joycelyn with Love, Passion, and Happiness. I hope you've subscribed already. If not, subscribe. So, I just finished my yoga practice this morning, and I started thinking about this idea of being annoyed with someone, and I realized that most of the time I'm annoyed with myself, right? Because it's 6:30, 6:15, maybe earlier, I'm not sure. And I've already been in conflict with myself since I've awakened, right? So I haven't spoken a word to another person aloud until I just started this video. So I had to figure out if I was actually going to get out of bed at 5 o'clock, or if I was going to set my alarm, if I was going to do yoga, if I was going to go for a little run, what am I going to wear to work? What do I have to do after work? So I'm having all of these thoughts and conversations with myself that I realized that a lot of time we say that we're annoyed with someone else because they have actually violated our space, when what it is we're actually annoyed with ourselves, right? Because we are the person that our internal self, have a conversation with itself, right? To decide what we're gonna do. And that just leads me to being aware, self-aware, that is. And I do realize that some mornings my thoughts with myself are fluid, right? I get up, I know what I'm gonna wear, my day is gonna go a certain way, and I have to, sometimes I just move. There's not a question. But then other times I can't figure out what I'm gonna wear. How do I feel today? How do I want to look? Do I want to wear flats? Do I want to wear heels? Are we going to do a lab? So I have to go through all these different things to get myself to a place of being okay with the decisions that I made for myself. And a lot of times we struggle with that, which brings me to today's topic is self-awareness. What do you know about yourself, independent of everyone around you, right? What do you know about who you are that has nothing to do with anybody else? And that comes with us dealing with ourselves every day. Who are we when it rains, when the pressure is low? Who are we when the sun is shining? Who are we when we have a high estrogen and lutein levels? And who are we when it's low? And who are we after we've made love and before we made love? Like, all of these things have just only to do with yourself, right? It's very important to know who you are and know how you exist, because that's how you're going to continue to move. We get cloudy with ideas of people around us wanting us to be what they want us to be, that now we're confused in our minds about who we are because we're trying to fit someone's mold of what they want us to be, right? So that's really tricky because we trust people around us. We trust them to give us good insight on who we are. But honestly, the universe isn't going to give someone that type of control over us, because we have to be on our own accord for the universe. Is that right? You get it? So it's like stars. Stars aren't going to other stars trying to figure out how to shine. They just shine. Because each star has its own purpose. Each star has its own length of time for existing, and it has its own purpose, as we have our own purpose. So when you get to a space of understanding who you are, then that's going to put you more in line of where you're supposed to go and who you're supposed to be. So fortunately, when you wake up, when you go to sleep, you're sleeping by yourself. I mean, you may be in the bed sleep with somebody, but you're ultimately sleeping by yourself. That is the one thing that you do on your own. You're not communicating with anybody. And yeah, it feels good to have somebody next to you to touch and just to know somebody's there. And that's feeling this need to be loved and that affection. So that's all good. But when you're asleep, that's your time of slumber. It's your time to rebuild. It's your time to get to a place that I need to be ready for tomorrow. So in that time, that's your time alone. And when you awake, it's your time alone. You have your time to lay there and lay out a plan for what you want to do. How your body feels, how your mind feels. This is all your time, and you have to claim your time to make sure that you're significant and you're of purpose when you take your steps. I'm a morning person, so when I get up, I'm ready to like thump, 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 thump. But I'm a morning person, but I also sleep very hard, and I have my time of healing. And a lot of times people are night people or they're afternoon people. But unfortunately, or fortunately, either way you look at it, society has designed that we get up in the morning, and whatever we have to do, we do it in the morning between this time and this time. And you deal with the fact that I'm not a morning person, quote, if you're not, and I have to still get up and I have to go to school, I have to go to work, I have to do, because that's how the day works. So we have to get to a place of understanding and dealing, but we also have to get to a place of knowing who we are before we get to that. Because you wake up, if you're not a morning person, you wake up and you're grumpy, you're fussing with yourself because you can't figure out how to take on the adult task of waking up and going to work. And then you get to work and then you're mad at all the people around you. You're not mad at them, you're mad at yourself. But it's easier to be mad at someone else, right? So just spend some time getting to know who you are. Give yourself 20 minutes in the morning to meditate on who you are and celebrate yesterday, whether there were great accomplishments or there were no accomplishments. Celebrate the day before, celebrate today, and then celebrate tomorrow, right? You've got to give yourself affirmation that waking up is what you're supposed to do. Waking up is what you're supposed to do. It's not your gift. The universe isn't giving you another day. Your path has already been laid. You are walking what you're supposed to do. Your path is put out there. So every day that you wake up is what you're supposed to do. Now, what are you going to do with the day? That's on you to decide, because you have to be aware of what you're capable of doing. I always tell people, try something new every single day. I literally try something new every day. I know. And now it's become a habit. It could be a different beer. It could be a different topping at Subway. It could be a different route to work. Just something to make my mind kick on, to remind me that I'm here. I'm here as my own entity, self. I'm here in self. Anyone that has the opportunity to interact with me and deal with me, good for them. And if I have an opportunity to deal with people, good for me. We'll benefit from each other, but I can't give anybody anything if I'm not okay with self, right? So being aware of who you are is the key thing to traveling along your path. It's your key to being of purpose. Because if you never actualize or get to where you're supposed to be in here and your vessel, you're not going to get to the place of being of purpose. And your days here will be long and they will be miserable, because you're going to have people tearing at you and telling you what you should do and yang, 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 yang. And you should. That's miserable. When you get to your place of being who you are and you trust who you are and you're moving and you can shut down the noise, because the only noise that's going to benefit you is the noise of your own self, the voice of God speaking to you and the universe moving you. That's when you're going to get to your good place. So this is Joycelyn. Subscribe to my channel. Love, passion, happiness. I'll see you next time. Bye.